Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
So let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes, then we start.
Morning.
Good morning. Good afternoon, rather.
Hello, sir. Sir, I've been working on a data set and I have a few questions. Can I share my screen with you?
Please.
Is it visible?
Yeah.
Hello?
I can see it.
Yes, sir. So I've been working on a data set that you have provided us for weather. It's a weather data set.
Right.
So there are few things that I have to ask you.
Okay.
Like, wait. Like, sir, this is the mini chart that I have created. So I do not want count, like there is a option called count of CT. I want to change its name. So how can I do that? And I do not want total in that mini chart. So how can I remove that total?
Sure. Can you come to that page where you have created the mini chart? Right. Just select the table. No, as in the table in the mini chart. Right. Click on the table. Is this the one?
No, this is not that one. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, just select the table. And you want to change the heading, right?
Yeah. Just heading of the dates, like count of CT.
Right. Do you see on the right side you have values below rows and columns? Below the visualization, click on the drop down on count of CT. No, not this one. The third one. Count of CT. Click on the drop down and click on rename. Right.
Rename for this visual.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. You can call it whatever you want.
Is
right. Now go to formatting option.
Formatting.
Right. And go to totals, subtotal at the top, towards the top. Subtotal.
Subtotal, where it is?
Actually, select the grand total.
Grand.
Right. Yeah. And just scroll down. Okay, maybe go to the subtotal then. If the grand total is not giving you the option, go to subtotals and turn it off. Row subtotals, turn it off.
Right. So, okay. And sir, I have one other question. Yep. Like, can we change the size of this mini chart? Like, there is so much gap there, so I want to reduce that gap.
Yeah, absolutely. Just do not click on the table. Click anywhere else on the page. Yeah, just click outside. Now go to formatting and go to page size. Select custom in the type. Select custom. Now reduce the width by 320. Just reduce it a little bit.
Let's make it 250.
That's it. Right. Similarly, you can increase the height as well.
So still it work as a mini chart. Like
100%. You can choose any size that you want. It will still work like a mini chart.
Okay. And sir, can we use two different mini chart for the same data? Like
no.
If I want to, yeah.
No. You can create one mini chart which has multiple charts in it. Like you have only kept one table. You can make two tables or one table and one card. But at one time, you can only see one mini chart.
And sir, there is another doubt, like when I there is a Q&A in it, and when I just press on it, like Q&A reset into a standard visual.
And you can't change the question. After you convert it into a standard visual, you cannot change the question.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Right. Anything else?
So, sir, can't we change? We can't change the value of it. Like if I want to do something, another analysis, like I do not want these analysis, so I can't do that.
What type of analysis do you want?
Like in this standard chart, I take event and average of mini temperature, and I want visibility for like another chart. So can't we change this one? Like we have to make another one for that.
You mean to say that events will remain fixed, but you want to remove the mean temperature and keep something different, is it?
Yes. Yes.
You can change it. You can remove the average mean temperature and keep some other column in it.
No, sir, I have changed it into a standard visualization. So after that, we can't do that.
Why can you not? On the right side, do you see the
values? There
isn't
any option here, like where I have to put that value.
It is on the right side, no? Next in values. Below the visualization, look on the right side, the values.
Okay.
Remove it and put something different.
Thank you, sir.
But after you convert a Q&A into a standard visual, you cannot ask the question again, right? So just that you will have to keep in mind. But manually, if you want to change something, you will be able to do so.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Right. Okay, great. Anyone else? Any questions you would like to ask?
Sir, I have one doubt.
Please.
Shall we put the x-axis values inside the chart?
I don't follow. X-axis.
Shall I share my screen?
Please, please.
Is it visible, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can bring these values inside the chart, but I want these sectors to come inside the chart. Can we do that?
That cannot happen. X-axis will always come outside the column.
Okay.
That would not be possible. And ideally, you should. Actually, it's not a bad idea if you want to do that, but then it is not possible. It will always come outside.
Okay, so then is there any other way? Can we insert in text box like that?
I'm thinking, can you put the sector, just select the chart first, click on the chart, put the sector in tooltips, put the sector, but then also it will not come inside. Just put the sector in values. Let me try something. Put the sector in values, remove this, put the sector in values. And just click on the drop down and change it to the, no, it is not possible. I thought it is, but it is not possible. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Any other question? Anyone? Anything else?
Sir, can we change the title of x-axis or y-axis on a graph for any chart? Like if I plot a graph for temperature and events, and I want to change the name of them, like I want to change events into days, just name, value save.
Yeah, that option is there. So when you go to format and you select x-axis or y-axis, there is an option to change the title. That is possible. But you can change the name, no? You can just change the name and that name will change. Like we did earlier, where we changed the name to days from the count of CAT. You can do the same thing. Rename. Right. Good. Any other question, anyone? But I hope all of you are feeling more comfortable now. Now that we have spent 4 days, you have some time to practice. And then in the session on Thursday, we also did different types of data sets, right? So a lot of people have either emailed me or called me, messaged me on LinkedIn. And the question always is, how do I decide which type of chart we want to create? And like I have said multiple times, you don't know. The client will never tell you what type of chart they want. You will have to figure that out on your own. And always remember that there is nothing correct or incorrect. It is not that if I make a pie chart, it is better than a column. It's not like that. It depends on you. So you have to experiment. You have to be creative, right? And it is definitely possible that I make one chart and another person makes a different chart. There's nothing wrong with that, right? As long as you're able to explain it well. Good. I'll just wait for 1 minute if anybody has any questions, and then we'll continue. There's one question that has been asked here. Let me share my screen. How can we get the column and the table ribbon tab in Power BI? We have used it in the NYC accident data set. Could you please explain this? What exactly you're trying to ask here? How can we get the column and the table ribbon tab in Power BI? I'm not sure if I follow what the question is. Just anyway, if you're not here, just if you're here, then just tell me in more detail. I'll just say, please. Right? Okay. Great. So what we're going to do is I want to show you some more advanced topics in Power BI. Now, keep in mind that these topics are not needed right now. Okay. At least when you guys are in first year, the projects that you'll be working on, the summer internship that you will undergo next year, you will not need to work on these advanced topics unless you're in a profile that requires you to work on a more advanced data analytics option. Right? Now, I'm not sure what type of internships you guys will get into. But anyway, it is important to learn it, at least know what it is. But we are not trying to be an expert right now. What we have done in these 4 days is a lot. I would like you to practice it again and again and again. And I hope all of you see that it is not that easy. When I tell you make a chart and put this option here and put that option there, it does not take a lot of time because I'm helping you. I'm telling you what exactly to create. But when you work with your own data, you realize that you have to understand the data. You make a chart, but you don't like it. Then you have to make some changes. There are so many options that finding the right option is difficult. That is just the nature of the work, right? So it's not that you are doing it incorrectly. That is exactly how I have also learned. And everybody has learned. I remember, I'll share my experience with you. When I used to learn Power BI, I would make one chart. I would go through every option one by one, literally. I'll open formatting one by one, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. Like that, I would see every option because who's going to teach me, right? Nobody can teach you. In my online course, I have covered in more detail, but obviously there also, it is not possible for me to cover everything, right? Even I don't know everything, so I can't cover that. So just keep that in mind. So what we're doing here is, we open the file for you. Okay. Now, if you go back to the folder that I had shared with you, there was one Excel file called Global Superstore Orders Data. That was the first example that we had worked on. And all of you can see that there is another folder called Model. Everyone, please open this. There is another folder called Model. Right? Okay, now, before we start working on this, let me explain to you what the problem is. I have a folder called Sales. You don't need to open it. Just watch me explain. And in the sales folder, I have the data for 3 years, 2013, 2014, and 2015. And what type of data is it? It is a very simple data. If I open 2013, you can see that we have the data for 10 columns and about 1,900 rows. And it is a very small, simple data. We have the order date, shipping date, the shipping mode, the customer ID, segment, city, state, region, subcategory, sales, quantity. Very similar to the data set we have already worked on, right? Now, there are two things that are missing from this data. Number one, I know my customer ID, but I do not know my customer name, right? And also I know my subcategory, but I do not know the category. For example, I know that it is paper and labels, but what should be the category? Stationery. I know that it is chairs, but what should be the category? It should be furniture, right? So office supplies, furniture, actually not stationery, office supplies, furniture, and technology. So if I go down, you can see that I have phones, which is a part of the technology category, right? So this is the data that we have for 1 year, 2013. And similarly, I have the data for 14, I have the data for 15, and I also have the data for 2016. So what is the first requirement? Anyone? Can you tell me? What is the first requirement that we have right now?
We have to find the customer name using customer ID.
That will come later. You're absolutely correct. That would be the next thing. Before getting the customer name, I have my data in 3 files. So what do I have to do?
We have to merge all the Excel
You have to
files.
merge the file. So the word that we use is not merge. Merge means when you're adding more columns. Are we adding more columns here? Yes or no?
No.
What are we adding? More rows, isn't it? Because I have the data for 2013. Below that, I will say 14, and below that 15. So Bharat, Siddhant, you are saying merge and compile, but there are specific terms that we use for them, right? So what we call it is, let me see if anybody has given the right answer. No, Siddhant, not move. So we call it, please watch everyone, we call it append, right? That is the word that we use in database management. So if I show you some images, this is what we are trying to do, isn't it? Let me show it to you this way. Okay, look at this. I have one data which has 5 rows in it. I have another data that has 2 rows in it. So I need to combine both of them, and I need to create a new data set with 7 rows. This process is called an append. Fair enough? So just keep that in mind. Okay, now append is not something that we use in Excel or Power BI. You notice that append is in Python, it is in JavaScript, append is in SQL, right? Append is in 9, append is in R. So basically any tool that you're working on, whenever we are combining different files, but how are we combining? Am I putting next to each other? Am I adding more columns? No, I'm adding more rows. So this is what we're trying to do. This is called an append. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so that's the first thing I have to do. I have to append the data from these 3 files. 2016 we will do later, but first let's look at 13, 14, 15. Now, what is the second requirement? So somebody said, I need to get the name as well, right? So if you look carefully, I have a different file, ID and name. And here you can see a list of all the customers. So I have 793 customers. I have the customer ID and I have their name. Can somebody tell me, because we did this in the Excel training, does somebody remember how do we combine these 2 things? Let me just open it for you. Yes, anyone? Do you remember the function that we had used? How do we combine the data? VLOOKUP. Everybody agrees with me? VLOOKUP. So what will be my lookup value? What are we searching for?
Column D.
Customer ID.
Customer ID.
Customer ID.
The answer is in which column?
Second column.
Second column. So I hope that if I do it like this, don't do it because this is not the correct way. I'll show you something better. When I say equal to VLOOKUP and I search for the customer ID in column A and B and I say 2, you notice that it tells me who's the customer. Right? But the problem is that I will have to write the formula manually. I will have to copy and paste the formula in all the cells. And after I've done that, I will have to do this process for 3 different files. See, I'll have to open 13 formula, copy paste, 14 formula, copy paste, 15 formula, copy paste. Imagine that you had 15 files in a folder. You know, you have 15 different brand managers or 15 locations in a company. That means that you will have 15 files, and that 15 files will be very problematic because you have to write the formula also 15 times. So what do? We will do something called merge. We'll do that later. I'm just writing it down here so that we remember that we have to do this. So let me close this. So first requirement is combine, okay? Combine as a append, okay? 2013 to 2015 sales data, fair enough? The second requirement is also I want to combine. But this time I want to do a merge, which means I want to merge the customer name to the sales data. Any questions, anyone so far on what we are trying to do? Right, makes sense? Let me see the chart window. All good? All right, let's start working now. I would like all of you to please open a new Power BI file. Do not work on any one of the older files. Please open a new Power BI file. That is very important. Right? So we open a new Power BI file. Before doing anything, please save the file. So I'm also saving it on my folder. I'm calling it model. Right? Give it any name that you want. Completely up to you. I'm calling it model. All good. So let's save it. I'm calling it model. So the file has been saved. Now, the first thing that we want to do is to connect to a folder. Now, remember, we are not connecting to one Excel file. We are connecting to an entire folder that has 3 files in it. That means I will be copying this path. I hope all of you can see this. This is where my folder is, right? With 3 files in it, this entire thing. Right? So please come to this correct folder, everyone. There should be 3 files, 13, 14, 15. Just copy, click on that bar, press Ctrl C. Just copy the entire thing. Copy the entire thing. Come back to Power BI. And now we go to Get Data. But you can see that there is no option for the folder. We have many different types of files there, but there's no folder option. So I click on More. So Get Data and More. And here you will find the folder option. It is the 5th option that we have. So please select that. The folder option. Now remember, we already have the path of that folder that I have copied from here, right? So I can just click on folder. We click on connect and just paste the path. That's it. All of you, please make sure that the path should be correct. The last folder should be old. That is a must. It should end with old.
Which folder you are connecting with? The previous one, the yesterday you gave, or?
No. This is the folder I had sent to you as the week 2 folder.
Okay,
at the
week
beginning
2
of the
folder. Week 2 folder, okay.
The week 2 folder. So there would be model, sales, and old. Right? I'll just wait for 1 minute. Let me know if you have any trouble.
Sir, get data, after that more, and after that folder.
Folder, right? So I'll do it once again. So you click on get data, then more, and then you select the folder. That's the 5th option that you have, right? So we click on connect, and it will ask me for the folder path. I can paste the path here, but you have to make sure that it should end with old, right? Because that is the folder which has all the 3 files in it, 13, 14, 15. And click on OK. Now it is doing what? It is confirming to me that, Havish, there are 3 files in that folder, as you can see, right? So it confirms to me that there are 3 files. So we know that, right? So we have verified that. Even if there were 10 files or 30 files, it would have told us that there are so many files in that folder. Now, what do we want? We want to combine it and transform it. The first option, everyone. Combine and transform. Please select that. Combine and transform. And now the final step is that it will ask you to select the sheet, right? So it will ask you which sheet you want to select. Now we only have one sheet with us called sheet 1. That's it, right? And once you have done that, click on OK. Right? I'll wait for all of you. So I hope all of you are able to follow the steps. Get data from more from folder, combine and transform, select the sheet, and then click on OK.
Excuse me, sir. Hello.
Tell me.
Sir, my connection got lost, so I couldn't see after the browse option. How did you combine file? I just want to see that again. Could you please show me that?
Yeah. Can you share your screen so that I can help you?
Sir, I can do it. Just I want to know that after the browse option, what did you do?
See, you have to click on get data. Then you select the folder option.
I got it, sir. Next.
Right. What do you see on the screen right now? Or did you get the entire thing?
Sir, I did the entire thing. Yes, sir. The before this combine files, before the step. This step, before the step.
Sure. So after selecting the folder, you have to paste the path.
Can you please tell me again, after going to the folder, I got 3 files, 2013, 14, and 15. What I have to do after that?
Yeah, just try to catch up, please. You have to copy the path from here.
Okay. Okay. Afterwards?
So then we go back to get data
Okay.
and we select more.
Okay.
We select the fifth option, which is a folder. Since we
Okay.
want to connect to multiple files in a folder, click on connect.
Okay.
And we paste the path here, which we have
Okay.
already copied. Click on OK.
Okay.
And then two more things are left. We first have to select combine and transform, the first option. Combine and transform. And once you have selected combine and transform, you select sheet 1,
Okay.
right? And then you click on OK.
Okay. Thank you.
The moment you do that and you wait for about 5 seconds, you will notice that another window has opened up on your system that will look like this, right? Bharat, you will have to share your screen. I will not be able to help you like this because I'm not sure what mistake you have made. You'll have to share your screen. Then only I'll be able to help you. No. Just cancel this. You have done something wrong. Just close this. No. Wait. Just at least let me tell you, what you have to do. Just share your screen once again. Don't click on the buttons in a hurry, right? Just share your screen once again. Right. Just discard the changes. Are you not able to click on the button, Bharat? Just cancel this. Yeah, just cancel this. Have to wait for a bit. So even though Power BI can work on a laptop with even 2 GB of RAM, but obviously the more powerful laptop you have, it will help. Okay. That's okay, let it be. Just go to get data folder. More, get data and then more. Right, all of you can watch this again for a recap. So you click on more, click on connect. Discard. Yeah. Paste it, okay. combine and transform, the first option. You had selected the second option, combine and transform. No. I don't know what you clicked on. Are you clicking on the combine and transform option? No. You have to click on the combine button, right? And within the combine button, there would be combine and transform. You have to select that. Yeah, now select the sheet and then click on OK. Okay, click on OK. Right now, you would see that there is another window that will open up on your system, yeah, like this. Perfect. So let me share my screen once again. Now let me explain what we have done. This second window that has opened is called Power Query. What you can see in the top left corner, everyone, it is called Power Query. Okay. Now, Power Query is a part of Power BI, but it is a very advanced topic, right? So what we have been learning from Monday to Thursday, which was how to create a chart, how to put values, how to connect multiple charts, how to make a mini chart, how to use AI. All of that is the data visualization part of it, right? But what we're doing now is that we want to change the way the data has been captured. But how do we know that the data has come for all the 3 years or not? If you click on the first column and load more, you will see that 13, 14, 15 has come together. Please verify this, everyone. In the first column, when you click on the drop down, you will see that it says 13, 14, and 15. You might have to click on this button, load more. So amazing, right? If you notice, the steps are so simple. And even if you have 15 or 20 files in a folder, it can be an Excel file, CSV file, PDF, whatever type of file it is. If you have multiple files of the same type in a folder, how do you combine it? You combine it using an append. Remember, that's what we had written earlier. We want to do an append. Like in this case, I have appended 3 files, 13, 14, 15. Right? Any questions so far? Then I'll explain to you what is this interface and how it is working.
Sir, if we have forgotten the file to save earlier, then it is going to be a problem or issue. Like I mistakenly couldn't save the file first. Is this the issue?
No, I didn't get the question. Tell me once again.
Sir, when you started this, you said that you have to save the file first and then go to the next step. I couldn't save that.
That is okay. You can save it now. It doesn't matter.
Okay, thank you, sir. I got before all the things.
Yeah. You can save it later also. Now, what has happened is that there are some steps that have been performed. So if you look on the right side, these are the steps that have been performed, right? Now, first, let me tell you how it is working. Remember, this is a very advanced topic. So you don't need to learn it right now, but at some point you will have to, right? In fact, if I may quickly go back to LinkedIn, one of my students who did a live project with me, he did an internship for 3 months with me, Sanjay. Sanjay got a 1-year contract with Hitachi ABB Power Grids in Bangalore, and Sanjay worked for what 2.5 months. His joining was in May, and he has been offered a full-time job now, right, with ABB Hitachi at about a 13 lakhs package. So the point that I'm trying to make it, so he also started with nothing. You know, he's a non-IT student, and he worked with me for a few months, worked on multiple projects with me, worked very, very hard, and kept on learning more and more things. He started with Excel, then he learned Power BI, then he learned Python, now he's learning SQL, right? And he's in a data analyst role now, right? So in the span of a few months, right? And he's from TAPMI, he's a gold medalist from TAPMI. So, yeah, so the point I'm trying to make is that his role today at ABB requires him to work on all these things, what I'm showing you right now, okay? So, yes, it is difficult, it is complex, and you can't learn it right now. I mean, you have learned how to do it, but you can't learn it in detail right now. You will first have to learn the basics of Power BI. So everything that I've taught you in the last 4 days, right, you have to be very, very thorough with it. And remember, I have already given you access to the Power BI course. I think some of you have already started doing it as well. There is a complete course that I have on basics of Power BI, which is a 4-hour course that covers all the basic topics, you know, right from connecting to a data set, how to click, how to make a visual, how to, you know, change the type of visual. Everything has been covered here. I know that some of you are already doing the courses. And if you haven't done it yet, please do it, because today will be the last session for Power BI. After you have completed this 4-hour course, which will take you maybe 1 week or 1 month, whatever it is, after you have done this, then I would ask you to start working with Power Query, right? Which is it's a combined course, Excel and Power BI, because Power Query works on both Excel and Power BI. This is a very advanced course, which is a 3-hour course with more than 30 examples in it, right? So is the topic important from a job point of view? 100%. But if you're in a data profile, it is very important. If you're in any other profile, marketing, product management, sales, HR, then a little bit of knowledge is enough, right? But if you're in finance or if you're in data, then learning Power Query is very, very important for you. But don't learn it in detail right now. First, learn the basics and then learn it. Right? So what has happened is that on the right side, there are some steps that have been created. What is the first thing we did? Can somebody explain to me what is happening here? I know all of you are looking at it for the first time, but does it make sense? By the way, if you cannot see the formula bar, just click on view and enable the formula bar. If you cannot see the formula bar, if you can see it, nothing like it. But if you cannot see it, just click on view and select formula bar like this. Okay. Can somebody tell me what does it mean? Folder.files and then the path. I'm sorry. Okay, your voice is breaking a lot, but I'm assuming you're saying that we are selecting all the files from that folder. Okay.
Look, it is basically showing the location where we have taken the files from.
Correct. What is this? Think about it. I know this is very new. It's very complicated, but just by looking at it, does it make any sense? What do you think this means? Doesn't matter if you're wrong. At least think.
It has selected all the rows from all those files,
okay.
But has eliminated those files which are hidden.
Right. That's a good guess. Okay. And I think everybody thinks of that. They think that, okay, in the file, it only took those rows that had a value and it removed the others. Right. But that is not what it is doing. What it is doing is this a table, everyone? What I have right now in the first step, yes or no? Everybody, is this a table? Yes or no? Yes.
Yes, sir.
How many rows do we have here?
3 rows.
3 rows.
Rows.
Now, what if I come back to my folder? Don't do this. This is just for your understanding. I'm creating a new file and I'm calling it dummy. But what I'm doing is this file, I'm going to make it hidden like this. So I'll make it as hidden. Right? So you can see that there is one hidden file in my folder. Now, when I click on refresh, how many files are there?
4 files.
4 files. But when I'm trying to append the data, what do you think? Should I only take the visible files or should I take the hidden file also?
Visible files only.
Only the visible files. But how do I explain to Power BI that no, I don't want to take that hidden file. I only want to take the visible files. That is the reason it is saying that in my table, how many rows are there? 4 rows. And which rows am I selecting? Only the rows which have a visible file. That means from the table, only select the rows where the hidden is not equal to true. Basically, we mean it is visible. That is why you notice in the second step, it is automatically removing the hidden file. Right? Does it make sense, everybody? Right? In the first step, it takes all the files on your folder. But without you knowing, there might be many hidden files. You know, sometimes the operating system automatically generates a lot of files. You don't know about it, but you know there are a lot of hidden files. Now, if you select the hidden files, then your operation might not be successful. And that is the reason we are removing the hidden files, and I don't have to do it. Power BI takes care of that automatically, right? What is the third step? In the third step, I'm saying take the data from the file, transform file. So I'm taking the actual data from the file. Then the fourth step is this name, okay, which was the file name. This name has been converted to the source.name. Now, I don't need extension, date accessed, date modified, date created. I just need 2 things. I need the source and I need the data. So I'm removing all the other columns. So I'm saying only give me the source and give me the data. Finally, we expand the data and I change the type of each column. So this is a date, this is a text value, and these are numbers. Right? 1, 2, 3 is a number, ABC is a text, and this date is a calendar. So everyone, these 7 steps that have been performed, you and I did not do anything. It happened automatically. We just selected the folder, we selected the sheet, and we said combine it. Power BI handled all the background, the backend work for us. But then why am I explaining it to you? Because if you are going to pursue a career in data analytics, then you need to know how these things work, right? Because that is how you will modify it and you will become a more advanced user. But for a basic user, for 9 out of 10 of you, I think simply understanding what it is enough. You don't need to get into details here, right? If you want to see this entire list of 7 steps at the same time, like right now I have to go step by step, no? But if you want to see all the 7 steps at the same time, I can click on Advanced Editor here, and you can see that these are the 7 steps that have been written. Right? Okay, I'll take a small pause here. You can ask me if you have any questions. After this, I will show you the website for Power Query, from where you can get even more details and information, and then we'll continue with the example. Right? Any questions, anyone?
Sir, we have 2 options while we click on combine, right? Combine and transform, and another one option below that. What exactly will both of the options will do?
See, just give me a moment. We have combine and load. Combine and load means that it will not combine the 3 files. It will just, combine and load basically means it will not open Power Query. It will load the data directly into Power BI. That's the only difference. Right now, this window opened, did it not? Now, when this window opens, I'll have to close and apply this. Combine and load will directly combine the data and open it in Power BI. But now it has only combined the data. I have to load it in Power BI like this. That's the only difference.
Okay.
Right. So sometimes you want to directly load the data. Sometimes you want to come to Power Query because I might want to make some more changes, right? Good. Any other question?
What is this dummy file showing up in your
I'm sorry?
screen? Dummy file showing up. When you select the source, there is a dummy file also.
Yeah, I just did that to show you that if there are any hidden files, like in my folder, this dummy is a hidden file right now.
Okay, okay.
Right. So if there are any hidden files in your folder, it will not pick up the hidden files. That's what I wanted to explain.
What?
Right. Now that you have understood it, I can remove it. Great. Anything else? See, you should be asking a lot of questions like, will it work with 300 files? See, you can't assume anything. No? You have to ask. What do you think? Will it work with 300 files?
Yes.
Yes. What is the data limit? How many rows can it handle? These are the type of questions a good consultant should be asking, a good MBA student should be asking. Okay, these are the type of questions. So, how many files can it handle? Can it handle this type of file? You know, what will happen if I do this? What will happen if I do that? So, the limit here is actually there's no limit, but up to 2 billion rows can be handled. 2 billion is 200 crore rows can be handled, which is like a insanely large number. You can't even imagine how large that number is, right? 200 crores.
Sir, can we make changes in auto-applied formulas by Power BI?
Say that once again. Can we make changes to what?
The auto-applied formulas of Power BI. These steps that are done by Power BI.
These steps.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can make any change. For example, if the path changes, you can change it directly here, right? Like, for example, what should I show you? Once again. For example, here I've renamed name into source.name. This column was called name, and I made it source.name. So I can just come here and I can say this is my new name. That answers the question?
Okay, sir.
Even though if you want to do this, you need to have, you know, a lot of comfort. You need to have an advanced level of knowledge because you need to know what to change, how to change. But yes, the short answer is that you can absolutely change anything. It is just like an Excel formula. You can see the formula bar, you can edit the formula bar. But for a normal average user, they will not be doing it because they will not have that level of knowledge. But if you want to do it, absolutely, it is definitely possible.
Sir, what is the use of that changing of name? Like you renamed it into source.name.
There's no reason. It's just a name that I give. That's all. Doesn't mean anything. Like when I get my final data, would I not like to know what is the source of this data? Yes or no? If I say this transaction, what is the source of this transaction? It is 2013. That is what we're doing. We're calling it source.name. You can change it to any name that you want. That doesn't really matter. Okay. So it's not that it's a standard or it's a rule that you have to follow. It's just that Power BI has been designed in such a way that it always calls it source.name. You can change it to anything else that you want.
So it's a by default step that
it's a default. Absolutely. Everything that I'm doing right now, these 7 steps, everyone, all of you got the same result. How? This is the default, right? Now, some of you might say, but why did it remove the hidden files? I wanted the hidden file. Is it not possible? One person might come to me and say, Havish, I have visible files in my folder. I have hidden files in my folder, but I want to take both of them. So what will I do in such a case? Is somebody
You have to give false.
Give false. So see, it's not very different from Excel. I know the syntax is different. It is much more complex, but basic things you should be able to understand. Okay, if I want to take up the hidden files, I'll make it false like that. Good. Keep on asking what else. Now we have the data on Power Query, but I want to bring the data back to Power BI. See, right now my Power BI is completely blank. There's no data here, right? So we click on close and apply, everyone. In the top left corner, please click on close and apply. And once you have done that, you will see that the data from the 3 files have been combined and you should get a single data set called old. That is the name of the folder with all the fields in it. Please confirm if all of you are able to see this, or rather, please tell me if you're not able to see it so that I can help you. If for some reason it is not working. Right, let's see the question. Got it? All right. Can all of you please make a column chart with the order date and the sales amount, everyone, which we have been doing so far in all these days. Just a simple chart, nothing special, with the order date in the axis and the sales amount in the value. Right? I think by now all of us should be very comfortable with these steps. Now, look how beautiful this is. I will go back to my folder. Right now, how many files are there? 3 files, 13, 14, 15, right? But you notice that I have another file outside the folder called 2016. I'll just copy this in old. I'll transfer it basically. I will put the new file 2016 in the same folder. And how do I refresh the data? I just click on refresh, and in one click, see what happens. One click, and Power BI will automatically add the data from the new file, and it will increase, the range of my chart as well, right?
Sir, could you repeat? I wasn't able to listen properly.
I'm sorry, was it a question or were you saying something?
Sir, could you repeat? I wasn't able to listen it properly.
No, you'll have to be, I'm sorry, you'll have to be a little louder. I'm not able to understand what you're saying.
Sir, I'm saying, could you repeat it? Because I wasn't able to listen it due to some network issue.
There's nothing to repeat. I just took that 2016 file. I put it in the same folder as old, right? And I clicked on refresh.
Okay. Thank you.
That is all. So this means that we have created an automation. So tomorrow, if more files will get added, or if any old file gets deleted or modified, everything will get refreshed automatically. I mean, not automatically in the sense that you still have to click on that button, but that's okay. That's a very small thing to do, right? And there is no limit on the number of files, on the amount of data that you have. It can handle very large data sets, big data as well, right? Great. The next thing that we want to do is to bring the next file. Remember, we have another file with the customer name. So I want to select that file with the ID and name. Before we do that, if you have any questions, you can ask, and then we'll continue.
Sir, if the location of the folder is changed, will it still work?
Very good question. I'm surprised nobody asked me this question so far. What do you think? Will it work?
I don't think so.
Of course not. Why not? Because the path has been defined. How do you go back to Power Query? You click on transform data, right? This one.
Okay.
Like if you're working on Power BI and you want to go back to Power Query, you click on this button. Now you can see that. Do you see the path here, everyone? The path is this. So obviously if the path changes, how will the file work? Can you tell me how will you fix this?
Change the path.
Change the path. How can you change the path? There are a few different ways of doing it. Either you put it manually like this, you can type it, or you can select, very simple. You just click on the data source. You select the data source and you tell Power BI that, no, this is not my correct path. I want to change the path. That's all. You change the path here, everything else will work properly.
Okay, thank you.
Right? Great. Good. Any other question? Anyone? Can we add another path with the same path? Not clear. What are you trying to ask?
Can we add a different file location in the data we are having? Like if the 2016 file is on different folder, so can we add that location extra as extra?
That is different. So if you have two different folders, let's say one folder has 13, 14, another folder is 15, 16. You will have to do it two different times, and then you will have to append the query manually, right? But what we have done assumes that one folder has all the files in it, but remember, hold on, you can have subfolders also. That is also possible. Basically, let's say you have one folder. In that one folder, you have 3 folders, right? And let's say each folder has, this has 3 files, this has 2 files, this has 5 files, right? Does that make sense, everyone? So if this is my main folder, how many files will it combine? 10 files. 10. That will work. So it is not necessary that you need to have only one folder. You can have many folders and all the folders can be put inside another big folder. That is also possible. Okay. Great. Any other question? Okay. Now, the next thing that we want is we want to see the customer name. The problem is that in my data right now, we only have the customer ID, which is okay for certain types of analysis. So if I want to know, total transactions, total sum, total profit, not a problem. I can use the customer ID as well. But if I want to know who are my top 5 customers, who are the best performers in one segment, in one state, the ID is not the correct way of presenting data, right? You should not present the ID. We should be presenting the name, correct? Let's see how we do this. So what I want to do here is I will go back to get data, everyone, and select Excel workbook. Please do this with me. Save the work first. Whatever you have done up till now, please save this. Right? So whatever you have done up till now, please save the work. Go to Excel workbook. And you select the Excel file that has the names in it, right? So make sure to select the correct file, everyone. It should be ID and name, this one. ID and name. Right? Okay. Now, the moment I open it, there is a small problem. Can somebody tell me what the issue is? When you select the sheet, can somebody tell me what the problem is?
Load or transform, like what to do.
Say that again.
Load or transform. There are two options. So what to do?
No,
They're
not.
The column name here and the column name in that file are different.
Hold on. No. This is not. No. That is not the correct way of explaining. Tell me once again. What is the problem that you see here? Anyone? What is the
title? Two title. Like column 1 is also a title and column ID.
What are these? What do you call these things that I'm selecting?
Cell.
No, not cells.
Last name first.
Rows.
Row, or what is the other word? Record. Okay. It's a row or a record. And what is this? Is this a row? Yes or no?
Title.
It is supposed to be the. Okay, so we don't usually call it the title in a database. We call it a heading, right?
Heading.
Now this is supposed to be the heading, but it is not the heading, and that is a very common problem that all of you will face. And this is nothing to do with you. This is not your fault. This is the way it works, right? On Power BI. Many times, at least 50% of the time, when you're trying to connect to an Excel file, the heading will not get picked up automatically. So you should not worry about it. This doesn't mean that you have made a mistake. It is supposed to happen this way, right? Now, can somebody tell me what is the difference between load and transform? Just think. What will happen if I load it and what will happen if I transform it?
We can change the data and transform, but we can't load.
If I do load, what will happen? The data will get loaded as it is, right?
If we transform, then it.
If I click on transform, it will take me to Power Query.
Power Query.
But it doesn't matter. Why not? If I click on load, you notice that the data has been loaded incorrectly because the heading is not coming correctly. You can see this. How do you open Power Query now? Transform. See, after loading it also, you can transform it. No, it's not that, oh, I did not transform the first time, so I can't transform it now. You can transform it anytime that you want. So it doesn't matter. If you load it and then you feel, no, there is some problem that I need to fix, you can always click on transform later. Make sense, everyone? Okay. Now, let's look at this, please. In ID and name, you see that there is a problem here. The heading is not coming correctly. This is very simple. You click on this button. That's it. Very simple. You click on one button called use the first row as headers. That's what we want to do now. I want to select my first row. And what do we need to do? We need to change this to the headers, right? Now you can't cut and paste. This is not an Excel file, right? So you can't just cut it and put it in the header. You will have to click on a button called use the first row as headers, right? Very simple. Click on it and it becomes okay, right? Okay, now can somebody tell me what is the second problem in this data? Look carefully.
There is a comma between the name and surname. I guess.
No, but what is the order of the data? Is it name and surname or surname and name?
Surname and name.
But that is also not correct, no? Ideally, the data should be what? It should not be Paz, comma, Darren. What should it be?
Name, then surname.
Darren Paz. Everybody agrees with me. Now, why is the data coming this way? Many reasons, A lot of time data is recorded in this way, but we want to fix it. Can all of you remember what I told you in the Excel training, which we had last week? How do you fix the name? What had we used?
Flash fill.
Flash fill?
Replace.
Flash fill.
Okay.
Or what function can we use?
When
How did we get the first name and the last name separately? What function had we used?
Left and right.
Left and right, right? So there are two ways of doing it. We can use flash fill or we can use left and right. Now I'm going to use flash fill here. But in Power Query, it is not called flash fill. It is called column from examples. The point is the same. You're doing column from examples, right? So click on add column and select column from examples. Everyone. I'm just highlighting it for you. Add column and then column from examples. No need to hurry. Let's do it properly and take our time. We click on add column and I select column from examples, right? Okay. So tell me, what should I write here?
Darren Powers.
If I write,
Is disturbance in the video?
not, I don't think it's on my end. I can double check if you want. I'm getting a strong 88 Mbps.
Voice is not clear. Actually, there was some disturbance. I think it might be on my account.
Perhaps. Hopefully it will get better. Is it okay now?
It's okay now.
Okay. So I'll do it once again. So all that we have done is we are clicking on add column and then column from examples. Very simple. And then I'm going to call this Darren Pass. Now the first name that you give, it doesn't work. Doesn't matter. Let's give one more sample. So I'll give it fill in over. And now it will work. Please try this, everyone. Fill in over. Very simple. No need to write any formula, nothing complicated. Just like we used flash fill in the example last week on Excel, we are using column from examples. Right? That's it. Any questions? Anyone?
Sir, it's showing null on the other name.
Just make sure the spelling is correct. If you're getting null, that means the spelling is not correct, what you've written. Just whatever you've written, delete it and make sure that Darren has a double R, Philina has a double L. Is it case sensitive? Absolutely. 100%. It is case sensitive. So if I write Darren with a capital Darren, then everything becomes capital. Definitely case sensitive. Is it working, everyone?
Yes.
All good? Click on OK. And what will happen is a third column has been created. Now tell me, do we need the second column? Yes or no? Now that we have the correct name, do I still need the second column?
No.
So I will simply right click on the column on name, right click and remove because we don't need the second column. Now that I have the proper name with me, why do I need the incorrect name with me? So I will remove it and I can rename and call this the name.
But sir, that was a source part, no?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because when you delete it, it is not actually getting deleted completely because if you go back to the previous step, you can still see that column. Only that step has been added, right? It is not like Excel that if I delete a column, it is permanently deleted. Here, you're not deleting anything permanently. You can always come back to it. Right? Any questions? Let's quickly go over the steps once again. What is the first thing that I did? I wanted to promote my headers. Since customer ID and name were coming in the second, actually in the first row, they should be the headers. We selected, use the first row as headers. Second thing, I added a new column using column from examples, which is very similar to Flashfill. Then I removed the old column and then I renamed the column to call it name. I'll just wait for 1 or 2 minutes if anybody has any question. And the final step that we have to do is now we have to merge the two. Remember, the first requirement was how do you append the data, which we have done. And the second question is how do you merge the customer name to the sales data? See, in Excel, we will use a VLOOKUP. Here, we don't want to use a VLOOKUP because that will be very time consuming, very problematic. So I will show you something even better than that, right? Which is called a merge. Yeah. Any questions, anyone? All good? All right. I'll just wait for 1 minute in case anybody else has any questions, and then we'll continue. Heading should be the same to merge. No, not necessary. So when you're merging, only the data has to match. The heading could be anything.
Sir, if in case we use formula to change the names, is it the same formula we use in Excel?
No.
Or is it different?
Formula is different.
Okay.
I mean, it will be similar, but it will be different. So
syntax will be different, right?
In Excel, we write left. Here we write text.start. The function is different, not just the syntax. The syntax is obviously different, and the function name is also different. I can show it to you. Do you see this? This is my formula right now. It says text.combine. It says splitter.split text by. These are very different functions. There is no function called left and right in Power Query. We have something called text.start and we have text.end, which is basically the equivalent of left and right. Okay, Ankit. So I have selected all the files separately, first 30, 40, 15, afterwards 16, and the ID and name file. Could it have been done at the same time by taking model folder? Of course not, Ankit. That will not work because first you have to combine the file using an append, which is this one, where we appended 13, 14, 15, 16. That has to be done first. And after that, you have to select the customer name because the customer name is a different type of file. So you can't select the customer name at the same time because you can't append everything at the same time, right? So first, the sales data has to be appended, which is what we did. After the sales data has been appended, then we have to do the merge with the customer name, right? If you select the entire folder, it will not work. It will have to be done in 2 steps, right? Good. Anything else? Anyone? Any other question? I hope all of you can see how powerful Power BI is. Like in these 4 days, we were only doing visualization, right? And as you saw, Power BI is very, very powerful. There are so many charts, so many options, AI visuals. you did not even know that there is this entire other side of Power BI, right? Where we can clean data, combine data, all of that, right? So if you want to read more about this, one is I have an entire course on Power Query. Also, you can go to the Power Query website, just the official Power Query website, powerquery.microsoft.com. And that's it. You can see what it is. So it's a data prepping tool. So basically, it's a data preparation tool. You don't need to learn any coding. You can connect to hundreds of data sources. There are more than 300 types of data transformation available. Does Power Query work only on Power BI? No. It works on multiple Microsoft products. So it works on Power BI, obviously. It works on Excel. It works on something called CDS. Now they have changed the name. Now it is called Dataverse. It's just a data repository for Microsoft. Then you have SQL Server, and then you have Power Automate. So what you're learning today is not just learning for Power BI. You're learning something. I'm teaching you something today, which will help you with so many different tools in the future. So you're learning a little bit of SQL as well. Right? And again, you can go through the website, and they've explained everything in detail. The formula that we're using is called M. That's the name of the language, right? So all of this that we wrote, this formula language is called M, just the letter M, right? And you can click on this and you can see more details about the language. Right? Okay. Great. So we have taken the data for 12, for 13, 14, 15, 16. We have taken the data for the ID and the name. The one thing that is remaining is that now I have to merge the two tables, right? I don't want to append. The name has to get added as a new column, right? I need to add another column here with the name in it. Agreed? So we are not doing an append. We're not adding data below the existing data. We're adding a new column. Let's see how we do that. It's very simple. This would be the final step. Please come to the old sheet, everyone, the old query. Let me see the question first. Can we export back the modified data to Excel? Yeah, so you cannot export it, but you should be able to. Let me see. I think if I do a copy and paste, it should work, but there are certain limitations there. So it will not work like this. Yeah, so you can't export it directly, but you can go to the data view, right, in Power BI. And from here, you can copy the data. So I can do right click, copy table, and then paste it back to Excel. Right? So I can copy the table and paste it on Excel like this. Right? So this is the one, data view. So this is the report view. We click on the data view. I can simply right click and copy the table and then paste it on Excel. But there are certain limitations here. So after 1.5 lakh rows, you cannot copy. So if your data has more than 1.5 lakh rows in it, you can only copy the first 1.5 lakh rows. So that limitation will be there. But usually it is not meant for that. You're not supposed to take the data back as an Excel file because Excel already has a connectivity with Power BI. So the new versions of Excel, you can see that I can create a pivot table directly from Power BI. Right? So there will never be any need for you to change it back to an Excel file. But yes, I mean, if you were asking, that is the answer. But there are many limitations on that. Great. Any other question? Okay. All right. So one more thing, everyone. What we want to do is, I want to merge the customer name with my sales data, which is the old data, right? Please click on merge here, everybody. Please see where my arrow is in the top right corner. Click on merge. And after you click on merge, it will ask you to select two tables. Now, which is my main table? My main table is old, that has all the data in it, except one column. And what is that column? The customer name. So I will select my second table as the ID and name, like this. All good? Now, how do we create a VLOOKUP, or rather, how do we merge the two tables? I have to select the two columns that are matching with each other. So my first column is customer ID, obviously, and my second column is CID. Now, somebody was asking me a question earlier, does the name need to match? Not at all. It is called customer ID, here it is called CID, and it still works without any problem. Right? Customer ID and CID. That's it. Select customer ID, click on CID, and click on OK. That's all. No need to write any formulas, right? Customer ID, CID, and OK. But hold on, something has happened. Why is it not giving me the result? Can somebody explain to me what is happening here? Any guesses? What is happening?
So it has merged the whole table.
Exactly. It has merged the entire table, and now I have to select which column I want. Now, when I expand it, tell me, which column are we interested in?
Name.
Why not the CID?
It's already available.
It's already there. Makes sense. Why should I select the customer ID? Because I already have the customer ID. So I will only select, I will click on this arrow and select the name. And that's it. You get your answer, the name. And you can also rename it. You can call it the customer name. So everyone, this is nothing but a VLOOKUP in a way. But this is much more efficient. Why? No formulas required, no $sign required, no column number, false, true. You don't have to do it multiple times. You don't have to copy the formula. You don't have to write the formula in different files. You just have to do the step one time and it works. Right?
Sir, for some reasons, the OK button is not enabled when I'm merging.
No, you have to click on the columns first. The OK will only come. Let me show you. The OK button will only get enabled when you have selected these two columns. You have to highlight the two columns.
Yes, sir. Why are we doing that?
Otherwise, how would Power BI know which two columns are matching with each other?
Okay.
You have to tell that to Power BI. So Power BI is not that smart that it can figure out that there is some common element between the two tables. Which is that common element? CID. So you'll have to tell it that this and this is actually the same thing. Right? By simply clicking and highlighting it. Right? And as all of you saw, it is not a difficult approach. It's very simple. Obviously, it is something new that you haven't seen earlier, but that's okay. It just works, right? And the first time you do it, you understand it forever. Can we merge more than two data? No. Merging will always happen one table at a time, as in one table with a second table.
Can we change the position of that new column that we have added?
Move it. Yeah, absolutely. Just select this column, move it. Just drag it like this, okay, and I'll move it so that I keep it next to my customer ID like this. Just select it.
So the tables we are merging, Is it necessary to have a common element between those
100%.
tables?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Otherwise, on what basis will you merge?
Okay.
So either, like for example, all of you are attending a training today, but your student ID is also there in the college database. So I can do a merge with the college database, right? Like that. But obviously some common element will have to be there. Usually the common element is the ID, which can be the customer, employee, product ID, product code, something like that, which is a unique value. The name cannot be a common element. Why? Because the name can be repeated. So how do I know which name, if the name is coming 5 times, I don't know which person is which. It cannot be the region, it cannot be the country. Typically, it will be a alphanumeric number or a number of some sort, a code or an identification. Can we use merge table to merge it to another table? 100%, 100%. After you have merged 2 tables together, if you want to now do another merge with a 3rd table, you can do that. You can keep on doing. In fact, that will have to be done. In my example, it's very simple. There was only one merge. Many times there are multiple merges that you have to perform. But at one time, only one merge is possible. Great. Anything else? So as you can see, we have done a lot of things today. We combined the data from multiple files. After that, we changed the position of the name and the surname by using flash fill or other column from examples. Then we did a merge as well. Right? Obviously, there are many, many other things available in Power BI. Now, I hope you can see what all is there, but this is just a start to give you a sense of what all is possible. Right? Any questions, anyone?
Will it reflected the change if I add a new row in my tables like in 2013 and 14?
100%. You can remove the old rows, you can add another row, you can modify an existing row, you can delete an old file, you can add a new folder with a file, you can add new files in the root. Any change that you're doing, it will get reflected. But if you're adding a new file, the template has to be the same. You can't have a new file with a different template. So if you have 10 columns in an order, ideally you should have the same 10 columns in the same order. If you say, no, my new file has a different set of columns or one column name has changed, then it will not work.
Okay.
Right. Anything else?
Can we make categories out of subcategories?
Yeah, I'll explain that. Just a minute. Will undo work in Power Query? Yatharth, you don't really need undo because Control Z will not work, but it doesn't matter because I can go back to any previous step that I want at any point. So it is remembering everything that we have done. These are the steps that we performed, is it not? I took the data, I did a merge, expand, rename, reorder. Everything that you perform will be saved permanently. It will never get deleted. Right? I hope that answers the question. I'm sorry, what was the other question that you were asking?
I was asking, can we make categories out of subcategories?
Yeah, so we can do that as well. Let's do the next file as well. Please keep on saving the work. Obviously, I'll share the file with you, but if you're practicing, please keep on saving your work. Now we have to do one final addition to my model, which is the subcategory and the category, this one. Now this time the file has another problem in it. The problem is that there are some blank values like this. Right? Why are there blank values? This is a very common, I won't call it a problem, but this is a very common issue that you will find because people usually save the data like this. They say that there is one furniture category which has 4 subcategories in it. Then office supplies has 9 subcategories and technology has 4 subcategories like this, right? But it will not be too different. As a practice, let's do this as well. So I'll go back to Excel workbook. So get data. I'm sorry, is there a question? Okay. So I click on get data and Excel. I select category. Can somebody tell me how many problems are there with this data right now?
We have to change the headings.
One is the heading, the same problem as earlier. What is the second problem?
Then the null values.
So tell me, what should these 3 null values be?
That should also be furniture.
Furniture. These will be office supplies and these will be technology. Everybody agrees with me? Now, if we were in Excel, then I could have done it manually. But in Power Query, I can't just manually copy paste or type a value, right? But we'll see how to do this. So I go to transform data. And first thing we already know, first row as headers, right? This we already know. And the second step is also very simple. Simply right click on the first column category and select fill down. That's all. Let me highlight it for you. First, we select first row as headers, and after that, we do right click, fill down like this. Very simple, just one click, no formulas, no other work required. Could I please repeat the navigation part? Ankit, be more specific. Which part would you like me to repeat? All I have done is I selected Excel. So I went to Excel workbook. No problem. I went to Excel workbook, right? I selected my category Excel, clicked on transform, and then I clicked first row as headers and right click, fill down. That's all. Try it. If not, you can share your screen. I'll help you. Working? All right, let me share my screen again. Great, let's come back. Right, and what else to, now the merge is exactly the same as earlier. I go to old, right? So I go to old, I go to merge, exactly the same thing. There's no difference. This time I select sheet 1, we select subcategory and subcategory. That's okay, exactly the same thing. Right? Right? That's it. Select, expand. We want the category, select the category. Let's call this the category. See, this part of working on Power BI is not very exciting. Let's be honest. You know, when you're creating charts, visuals, it seems more exciting. But the truth is, and I think I have told you this many times, 80% of your time will be doing this, what I'm doing right now. Whatever your profile is, you'll be doing this for 80% of your time. Only 20% of your time will you actually create visuals, right? That is how work is. You know, creating visuals is very simple. It is preparing the data, combining the different files, cleaning the file that is more difficult and more time consuming. So this is pretty amazing, no? If you think about it, the data that I have right now, okay? So if I select my category as well, 1 second, in the legend, and I'm making a table with my customer name, 1 second. Just a moment, everyone. Category is in legend. Perfect. Now, if you notice, the data is working. I have sales, order date, and the category on the left. I have my sales and customer name on the right. And how many files are these? Quickly. How many files are we connected to right now?
6 files.
6 files. 13, 14, 15, 16, customer ID, and I have my category as well, right? That's the beauty of Power BI, that all these files that you see here, all these files can be combined to each other, right? And without having to do any manual copy, paste, VLOOKUP, all of that, you can create a single Power BI dashboard from it. Any questions? Anyone? Right. So I think we've had a good session. We have spent some time, but as you can see, you have to really practice this. Okay, you have to understand how it is working. Power Query is not something you can learn in one day. I mean, I think I say that for every topic, but Power Query is one of the most difficult topics. So you have to make sure to first start with Excel. Excel is most important. If you learn Excel properly, learning all these other things will become much easier for you. Right? Great. Yeah. Any questions, anyone? I'm done with the session for today. If you have any questions, you can ask me. From Monday, 2 days from now, we will start with Tableau, right? So Monday, Tuesday, we are working on Tableau, which is much easier than Power BI. And then after that, we have a session on finance, consulting, and so on and so forth. Okay? So next session, next week is very interesting. We do Tableau, and you guys will also start with AI and ML. Okay? Great. Any questions, anyone?
I have a query.
Please.
Sir, actually, in the column chart, I am having a problem with labels. Can I share my screen?
Absolutely. Let me just save and close this. Yes, please.
So in some of the points, the labels are not coming. So I have that problem.
Which points are the labels not coming?
So like for this bar, this.
That is just because of the space that you have. Just go to formatting, go to data labels, open that drop down, yeah, on data labels, and decrease the size. Just scroll down and decrease the size. Text size. I think 8 is the minimum. Just try 8. Or is 9 the minimum? 8 is the minimum. That's the only reason. There's nothing else. Try to click on something else on the slicer. Don't select manufacturing director. Select something else. On the slicer, select something else.
Still, some of them are missing.
But why are they not connected to each other? Hold on. Just click on something else in the job rule. Basically, this is just to do with the space, nothing else. If you don't have the space, then the label will not appear. It's not. I mean, it's no mistake that you have done. I'll tell you. Hold on. Click on the page on any blank area. Make a slicer.
Another slicer.
Slicer. Yeah. And then put the distance from home in this. Distance from home. Right, in the slicer. Perfect. Now just don't select 1 to 29, just reduce it. Jitna bhi, this is okay. Do you understand what I'm saying? When the space is limited, it sometimes does not show the label. You can't do anything about that.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Great. Any other question?
No, sir.
Okay. Great. But I'm happy to see that all of you are practicing because, you know, when you practice yourself, you understand better and you have many questions that you will want to ask. Right. Great. So for today and tomorrow, you already have the data sets to practice on. I think I've given you a lot. HR, finance, marketing, weather, accidents. There's a lot of data that you already have with you. And believe me, you don't need more than this. You should focus on doing more with the data that you have rather than ask me, sir, can you share more data? I don't mind. I can share 50 files with you. But what is the point? The point is that you have to do something new with the existing data that you have, right? Even with one data, I can create 200 types of charts. That is what your goal should be, not working on different types of data, right? And so you can practice this today and tomorrow. Power Query is not very important at this point. You can learn it after 5 months or 6 months. But visualizations are more crucial. And then, of course, Monday, Tuesday, we do Tableau. Let me quickly open the timetable as well. Just a minute. Right. So we have done Excel and Power BI. So we have Tableau on Monday and Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, we have finance for everyone. And there's a session on consulting for everyone, which either I will take or some other senior person will take. Then Thursday, Friday, we have Anubhav with AI and ML. It's all hands-on from the absolute basics. And then we have a guest session on Saturday with Rohit Shenoy, right? I still have to confirm Rohit's availability, but he had already confirmed to me. So good. That's the plan of action that we have. Excellent. Any other question? Anything you would like to ask anyone? Yeah, as per the timetable. Next week is completely as per timetable. No changes. Hi, Puneet. Puneet, I was not able to understand what you said. Can you repeat that? You're audible. But the voice is not very clear, but let me try. Just ask your question. Yeah, I think you use the chat. That would be better. What do the companies ask for when they come for a data analyst role? They will ask you for Excel questions, VLOOKUP, pivot tables, SUMIF. Internships also, same questions. VLOOKUP, pivot table, if statements. The three most important things. If, VLOOKUP, pivot tables, right? Now, slowly they have also started asking about Power BI because almost all organizations are working on Power BI. Very basic things. They will say that, can you create a simple dashboard with some charts in it, right? Obviously, if you're in a different type of role, let's say you are in a data role, then they might ask you if you know SQL and all. But Excel and Power BI is the two most important things for everyone. In fact, what I'll do is, I think I'll get Sanjay for a guest session as well. Let me see how his availability is during the week. Because he was an MBA student till a few months back, right? He was a final year MBA student from TAPMI. He graduated in May, got a job, has been working for a few months. And of course, he has some prior work ex as well. So I think he'll be the right person because the type of questions you're asking me and the fact that you are in that MBA journey right now, he was in the same journey till a few months back, right? So let me just speak to him and let me see when I can get him for a call, right? Because I think you guys will really benefit by being with him because he also started with a non-IT profile and he ended up getting a job in a Power BI role. Imagine, he's a Power BI analyst, right? And he started with zero knowledge of Power BI. He knew nothing of Power BI, right? And in 3-4 months, he managed to make himself so good. I think you guys will really benefit if you meet him. Let me speak to him and set up something. Excellent. So that's all from my side. Thank you, everyone, and have a good weekend. Please do take some time out tomorrow and practice. Monday, brand new week. So we start with a new topic. I am always available, even after the workshop is over. Any questions that you have 1 month from now, 2 months from now, you have my personal number. You have me on LinkedIn, email. I'm always available. See, I might not be very prompt. So if you expect that I will pick up the call the first time, might be difficult. If you see, I don't usually pick up calls during a training unless it is completely unavoidable, right? But if you call me or reach out to me usually 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the night, that time I'm a little more relaxed. So I'm a little free. So I'll be able to answer your queries. Right? Great. So thanks, everyone. And I will see you on Monday, batch A at 9 o'clock and batch B at 11:30 as per schedule. Right? Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.